Hello, thank you, and welcome to the movement. Mad Gamer presenting to you what I consider open and honest perspective. I try not to feed into my personal beliefs, and I try to give you all angles of truth about various topics. Uh, there's been a heavy topic for the past 2 weeks, and we're going to get into that. But first, I'd like to thank everybody who encouraged me for the past couple months to keep the podcast going. I'm going to change the format very soon. I casually do this just to express myself and for the community. But I really wanted to talk about some dangerous topics here and press buttons and see how people react to it and what they have to say. The facts are that the gaming industry is possibly the best bang for your buck when it comes to value. So when I go to the movie theaters, I'm spending about $12 to $15 if it's not a 4D movie, which 4D or 3D charge you $20. It's $20 for your ticket, more or less. And then you're gonna buy some food. It's an event to go to the movies. If you go alone, you're still gonna spend at least 40 to 50 bucks eating some food and trying to survive in there before the event or something. This said, you're gonna get a 2-hour movie, and once you watch it, no more replays, none of that. With music, you do get a good variety, but it's all sound and no visuals for the most part, unless it's a music video. So when you talk about entertainment, video games is the greatest form of entertainment. On top of it being the greatest form, it is where you can get the most bang for your buck. If I pay $60 for a game and I spend over 500 hours on it, I have maximized the value of that $60. And I think in today's day and age, we have gotten to a place where people just are too spoiled to see the truth. Too spoiled to respect the hard work and dedication, the man hours it takes to create a game, 3 to 4 years, then the consistent efforts that it takes to maintain it and give you updates as well as DLC and new content. So my topic from last week had to do with microtransactions, DLCs, season passes. And one of my biggest conclusions was, what would you prefer? And gamers are so used to DLC now, but that was an outrage when that first came out. Oh, we got to pay for extra content. Oh, that's unbelievable. And they create a normal balance that's acceptable for the community. Doesn't mean it's okay, but it's acceptable. Now, the studios can't just give you free content and not profit. Can't keep the studio alive. It's just not how the world works. So, there's a balance between giving the fans something to enjoy but still keeping our studio alive. And the issue here is sometimes developers get it wrong, sometimes the players get it wrong, and both times everybody's at fault. So microtransactions might be the bad word of the gaming industry right now, but it's the players who have purchased these microtransactions for so many years, basically enabling and encouraging and enforcing microtransactions as a good thing. All of those players who spent all their money purchasing these things have basically supported microtransactions. So if you've ever bought any, it's your fault that we've gotten to this day that it's become an issue. That's just straight up honest truth And I know it's hard to hear, but you have to look in the mirror and realize what you've done. The millions of fans who spent money on microtransactions all these years, making big games very popular. MMOs have been the pioneers, I would say, but big AAA titles for consoles and things have also adapted that new medium there, where the microtransactions are important for the games and they're designed for the games. You take GTA or NBA 2K, both of these two games, terrible systems. You can't play the game for 4,000 hours to unlock everything. Like, nobody wants to do that. And you also have the chance to grab microtransactions, and these games have become so popular, and the microtransactions are being supported by the players. It is wrong and it's unfair, but it's the players who are supporting it. So when I talk about that, I'm trying to give you guys a guilty conscience as gamers, and I'm sure that people just don't care. They're like, whatever. But that's just the facts. So when you look at the modern day issues where some games overcharge for microtransactions, or some games make it impossible for you to progress, the progression system so bad, you're never going to get all the unlocks for a game because it's so unbalanced. These are big issues. And it's true, the company's doing it wrong, but you're enabling them by purchasing the microtransactions. So now, for someone like me who's never bought a microtransactions, I've only bought DLCs and season passes. This is as far as I've gone. Even that, I consider supporting the cause, where, you know, I want to support the studios and everything, but there's a limit of, like, oh, the season pass costs $200, negative, delete. Never buy that. So you gotta have restraint, but you also want to support your studios. So they have to be fair, and you have to be smart about your financial decisions to support these games. With this said, I personally feel, you know, some free content as far as modes, I would say new modes should always be free. But the problem is they can't give you new modes and maps, then they won't have nothing to sell. So it's a complicated weave. So my basic solution for all of this is it needs to happen anyways, and by the time the new generation consoles come out in like 2 years from now, games should cost $100. Why? Because if it costs $100, it should have free DLC for the first year. You pay the $100 for a 4K game, and you get the DLC for free, just like everyone else, though, because everybody's paying the same price. So this will be the new medium for the PlayStation 5, the new Xbox, whatever it's going to be called, whenever it comes out in like 2 or 3 years. All of those consoles that come out, they have to raise the prices so that the studios won't have to charge an arm and a leg for microtransactions, or won't have to charge an arm and a leg, I'm sorry, for the progression system, and make it impossible for you to get everything. So this is where the balance and debate and the conversation becomes heavy. As a customer, I don't want to go spend $100 on a game. Some games are not worth it. Some games are not worth $60. You know, a very popular game that I'm not against, but I just think it's ridiculous that how popular it got. It has one game mode, nothing else, and the only variation on that game mode is you can play single, dual, or groups of 4, and that is Unknown Player Battlegrounds. It's one of the most popular games right now, and it is a fun game, and it's a great game. But when it first came out, it had all the glitches, it had all the issues. It was terrible, but it was still fun, right? So everybody loved it, and it was an early access game. You get it for $40. Oh, it's just $40, but all you're getting is one game mode. I don't understand how till this day nobody wakes up to the reality. They're like, You paid $40 for one game mode, dude. You got played, and they're not gonna put out a lot of new stuff. They could put out some new map and stuff like that, but you just got played. $40 for one game mode. People pay $60 for a story, for a multiplayer, for, you know what I mean, and you get variety of things. So it's where our community is responsible for these things to be successful or not. An unknown player Battlegrounds is a perfect example of how the community came together and supported this game to the max. And even though it was glitchy, had so many issues, they supported it, paid $40 to get early access, to play with their friends, and to do whatever they did. But they suffered because in the end of the day, the reality is that players have just destroyed themselves, in my opinion. And now it's going to be one of those things where, hold on a second, I'm trying to play something here. I don't want it to come out. There we go. So, you know, when I talk about this, I don't speak it in a negative way, and it's not like I truly feel some negativity about that game. I just think the community's a hypocrite. And we're gonna take a quick break, and I'm gonna be right back. Give me your questions, comments. It's gonna be like 60 seconds. Alrighty, I'm back. I'm back. So, I was kind of shutting down a game, and it's wrong of me to talk about a specific game, but that's the only game I can give an example to where the community's a hypocrite. You pay $40 for a one game mode, then that's all you get out of the game. Yet, oh, this game with a story, freaking 20-hour story, a bunch of multiplayer modes, and you call that game terrible. It's no good. I don't like this thing. I don't have enough content. Destiny Part 1, the original, was said to be, oh, this doesn't have enough story, it doesn't have enough content, it's not good, oh man. And they disrespected it in a big way. And in reality, they did a great job with that game, and it was a lot of great content. It was a lot of fun. It was a very interesting game, and I just can't understand that concept. So I do get the outrage for the recent issues. I just think people don't see the greater picture, and then understanding it's their fault for microtransactions to be so popular. If every gamer was like me and never bought a microtransaction, all the companies would have easily abandoned that method and try to find a new method, because DLCs work, season passes work. These are standards and staples already in the industry. People want those. People are used to those. Microtransactions still a shaky business, and you say the word and it's like, oh my god, that's evil. But it's really not. And it depends on the game and how they price it, as well as the progression system of the game. Some games are just very unfair when it comes to the progression, and they do that on purpose so that you can buy the microtransactions. And if you buy them, you're the knucklehead. You know, and that's where, you know, I just think a lot of people got to get to the place where they know better, and the developers do what they can, and they have their saturation. I call it saturated fat when it comes to the microtransactions and the behaviors of certain studios. But you know, a great game is a great game, and I think being able to be smart, you know, they price them too high. No, first of all, they shouldn't have ever made it so that the game is pay to win. Regardless, no game should be that way, in my opinion. But then there's like, oh, how do we keep the casuals playing? They don't want to spend 300 hours to unlock one special weapon or character or something. So this is a big argument, and where's the balance? And it's a continuous lesson and growing stages depending on the studio and depending on the game and the design. So for me, when the next generation comes, I think the big, and this is not going to happen overall for all the companies. It's really not going to happen for all the companies. But once the next gen, the PlayStation 5s come out, it would be nice if all the companies would charge $100. I'm going to quote me on that. It sounds terrible, and it's like, this guy's crazy. But turn it up to 100. Don't turn it up to 80. Charge us $100. Make it so that the first year for DLC is free. That way we can support you on a standard level, as far as like, well, you're always going to get the free DLC. You're always going to get the year subscription of the season pass. You pay $100 to buy games from now on for the PlayStation 5, and then you're going to get that free DLC for the first year. The community's going to stay together. Second year, you're going to have to pay for DLC or whatever it is. So that argument in the conversation is tough, because how do studios, where's the benefits and where's the profits? So they have the problems, and that's where, you know, my solution, and I know it's a terrible one for the consumer, I ain't paying no $100 for a game. I get that. But what I'm trying to make a point is, these studios have to make money. So season passes, DLC, I've always supported, but I hate microtransactions. But the fact is, microtransactions are basically a DLC split up into micro transactions. So instead of me getting, for example, let's say I want to get 2 maps and the mode and the gun, I can get that in a bundle DLC. That's what a DLC is. So it's tough to try to state, let's do this or let's do that, and everybody has an opinion, but we need more factual evidence before we try to make a claim on what needs to be. A lot of great games do the standard now. DLC, season pass. Cool. Everybody loves that. I know I do that. If I really love a game, I'll get it. Cool, I'll get that. But a lot of people miss out, and the communities are split up, and it becomes a problem within the community, because now everybody's split up, and then people will just die off. Certain people, the people who play the base game, might die off, and the people who get the DLC will stay on. So this is where, you know, the struggle for studios and communities alike. And then how do the studios continue to make new content without charging an arm and a leg, but making enough profit that their publishers are fine and everybody's good, everybody gets paid. So it's a complicated weave, and as a community, it's very basic. Like, microtransactions didn't need to exist at all. The moment that the studios and publishers try to create that in the industry 15 years ago, whatever it was, whenever, it's been around for a while. I couldn't tell you when it started, but whenever that started, if no player purchased microtransactions, I can promise you that would have disappeared, and what would have happened was a studio would have created a new method on how to profit outside of DLC and season passes. What can we do? How could we get the players to support us financially? And they'll find a new creative way. So now for me, it's like, all right, you know what? I'll take the microtransactions, even though I've never purchased one. I'm 35. I've never purchased one in my life. I'll take the microtransactions as far as you can put them out, but make the progression system fair so that I can play the game without having to buy it. The moment I play a game, all right, and I find out the progression system is fair enough for me to get everything, but it has microtransactions, I don't have a problem with that game. I say, whatever. I don't care if the scrubs all purchase the microtransactions. That's their problem. They're not good gamers. They don't know how to earn anything. They just want to pay for everything. I'm okay with that, as long as it's not pay to win material, special characters, just special weapons. If it's cosmetic, cool. But this is where, you know, if everything that was microtransactions was only cosmetic, how much profit can a studio really make off of? That is the question. So it's difficult to maneuver. I put Titanfall 2 as one of the greatest examples. Oh, we're going to give you free content. And you're like, cool, awesome. So I go and play the game. Everything's free. New modes, new maps. Everything's awesome. But you got to pay for them cosmetics. You want that nice skin on that gun, or you want that new Titan outfit or whatever, the Prime versions. Those you have to pay with the microtransactions. And I say, damn, that's really cool. But then I wonder, how much profit are the studio making? They're giving up everything, creating everything for free for us. Where's their profit? Are they still profiting? And of course, that game wasn't the most popular game, so we can't act like they were truly successful. But on a community base, they allow the community to stay together by giving the free maps and modes, and it didn't separate them. So that is a key aspect that I personally think developers should always think about. But I know that they think in financial also. So it's a complicated weave. So how do we do this? Where do we do this? Again, as I reiterate, raise up them prices, man. Charge an extra $20. Make it $80. I really don't care. If you can make it $80 and take away all of the unfair progress in GTA or NBA 2K and now Star Wars, then you can make things fair. Like, okay, well, $20 and you got an even game, a balanced game, a well-structured game. You know, these are the things that will make the difference. And this is where I personally don't have a stake in what is or what isn't, what should be and how should it go. But I am creating a game, and all of this does matter to me, because as a consumer, it does matter. And then also somebody who's in the future wants to bring out the best game. I'm not talking the best game selling wise. I'm talking about, I've changed your life. I've changed the industry. I've opened up new ways of creating games, new ways of playing games, new ways of promoting games. So I'm researching really hard to do this in the right way, in a beautiful way that hopefully impacts the industry in a special way. But I'm here as a consumer also, paying attention, learning, growing, and trying to figure out what is the best. And I always tell these guys to stop supporting it. 2K players, they wonder why I don't play that. I try it, and I'm like, no, they're not going to make me pay to upgrade my character, because it takes too long to upgrade a character. I'm not going to go and buy microtransactions to make that happen. It's just not. I'm not selling my soul. That's what I consider it. But to be fair, how would that game make profit without something implemented? So it's complicated. Like, all right, well, you know what? Sell some sneakers, I guess. Sell some Jordans or so. It's like, oh, but we're not going to make no money off that. So this is where the argument goes back and forth as a developer and consumer. And that's why I say, like, just raise, when the new consoles come out, automatically it's going to be raising the prices. But I say raise it to 100. Don't raise it to 80. Raise it to $100. The reason why, forcing studios to say, we're going to give you free content now that you're paying 100. And it's up to the next generation, is up to us right now as the consumers to control the market. If we ever came to a place where we could control the market and stop being idiots, stop buying microtransactions, stop purchasing games that don't have anything, like unknown player Battlegrounds. I have none against the game, but the fact that it's so popular, it baffles me. The fact that people try to make it like it's such a great thing. You paid $40 for a one game mode thing, and you're not getting more out of that game. Like, it's already releasing on Xbox. It's already, blown out the water, and you're done. And all of this early access stuff is so many scams from so many companies, and they're just gonna fall apart and disappear. And I'm not saying Unknown Player is a scam. It's a great game. It's fun. I'm just trying to make a point about, we made that one of the most popular games of 2017, and we supported that. Now all these other games are doing the same thing. Early access, and then there's scams. There's games who don't even release. There's games who just promise you all these lies, and people are just sucking it up right now. And the community isn't on top of their game, and they need to be, and say, I'm not going to purchase the microtransaction. I'm not going to get that DLC because they don't got nothing worthy. I'm not going to buy this because of the progression system sucking. And just don't buy them. Just don't. Be real to yourself. And that's where, and my issue with the community is that they'll complain, they'll kick and scream, but they're not living examples to what they're kicking and screaming about. So it's complicated. And I'm not here to judge the community, but also I'm not here to judge the studios and the publishers. It's a balance between all of us, and we have to do a better job as consumers to control that market by not allowing certain things. I think they did a good job with Star Wars, but Star Wars is still one of the most popular games of all time, a popular series, movie series ever. And the game is actually a great game. I played the story. I didn't play a lot of multiplayer yet, and overall the game is awesome. Now the progression and the microtransactions, all that had a temporary stoppage. So we're gonna see. I haven't found out today yet what the announcement's gonna be for Star Wars, but I'm sure they're gonna talk about it, and they're gonna address the issue. They're hard at work about it, discussing it. And then once we find out if they're doing the right thing and trying to change things and make it work, hopefully that's what happens. I can't speak for the companies. I don't know. but I really do hope so. And today we'll hopefully get the information on what is next. But it's up to us to decide and control these things. So that's my opinion. That's my thoughts. And I know I'm terrible because I don't say what the common folk say. And I'm not like, oh, well, screw this, screw that, or whatever. That's not the way to go about it. You got to be reasonable, understanding. And I'm talking about raising the prices not because I want to pay more money. Like if it was up to me, this is the honest truth, I'll get all the games for free. I mean, I literally do reviews and interviews and video game stuff, so I'm getting games for free for the most part. But I still do pay for some that I don't get copies of, and it's expensive, right? We don't want to have to pay that, but it's not that expensive when you think about I've spent like 1,000 hours on Metal Gear Solid V: The Phantom Pain, and then people got it for free 2 years later. But that game gave me so much time in there, you know. Or for example, Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm like well over 60 hours on that thing, and I'm lying to you, I put in 60 hours on the first month of that game, actually. Like, I literally played it every day, all day, not even working, type of staying home and playing. I love that game. So, I got my $60 worth of that sucker. And the DLC was like, I'll buy the DLC 3 times just to support you guys. Like, let me buy it in different consoles just so I can give you. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not rich. But the point is, they deserve the money because they put out an amazing experience. A great universe. Great lore. Great storyline. You know, great side quests. Great enemies. You know, just a great pace to a game that is so beautiful. Visually as well, and technically speaking, one of the greatest games I have played in my life. So it's a funny thing, and that game only has story, but it has a lot of it. And I got my $60 worth. I would pay $100 for Horizon Zero Dawn right now. If they said, what games do you want to buy? You want to get GTA, NBA 2K, and Player Unknown, or Horizon Zero Dawn? You can get Horizon Zero Dawn for 100, or all the other 3 games for 100. I would get Horizon Zero Dawn because I already know my experience is organic, amazing, just a joy to be sitting through that game. I want to play it again right now, just talking about it. But facts are facts. They put out a DLC fairly. You know, it's like $14 right now. $20 total when you get it with no deal. But a great DLC. I didn't get to finish it, but I really enjoyed it so far. I love the presentation for that. I mean, they have a grasp, right? They deserve $100 before on release. I'm willing to pay that for a 4K experience with the beautiful. And I just think that's my point, is control what you pay for. Like, stop just because it's a popular game and you want to be a hot YouTuber buying microtransactions, man. You're the problem. And you enforced it, and you basically enabled this to be a thing. Oh, but they should just lower it. No. Yes and no. My argument strongly is no, but reasonably, as a man, as a businessman, hey man, these studios gotta make money. They gotta profit. They gotta do something. And you know, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. You know. So I'm sorry if I offend you for your lackluster opinion on microtransactions. They suck. That's it. Okay, but how can we fix that? How can we make it reasonable? Regardless if you like it or not, it has to be reasonable. And that's where the back and forth and what is best for the community and best for the studio comes into play. Because in the end of the day, the community controls the studio. If we don't purchase these things, the studio won't have a studio. So we have to be stronger, smarter, wiser, and hold our grounds on the games we think are worth it. So that's how I feel. And I know I'm not in the popular vote about some of my opinions, but I'm just trying to challenge the mind and challenge people's perspective about it all. That way they can get a better look at it. Like every angle that I'm hitting you with, it's not my own angle. My own angle is to screw microtransactions. As a consumer, I don't want to purchase them. Simple as that. I don't care for them. But as somebody who's a reasonable human being, you got to understand that studios can't live off of water. They have to get finances for all their content. But the studios have to do it in a reasonable fashion. So this is where the back and forth come into play. So while the argument is clear, understandable for all sides, I just think it's necessary to decide what you're at. And the majority, sadly, the masses, purchase microtransactions. And that is their fault that this has come to this place where this has to be a topic. And this is the last day that I'm going to bring this topic up. And I'm going to shut down that topic. And I mean, I'll still bring it up, but it's not going to be the core of the conversations. And I just wanted to address it, and I called this title "Raise the Prices of Games." That is a hardcore title and a terrible one, and I'm sure whoever listens in like, this guy's an idiot. Once they see the title, I'm like, raise the prices of games? What are you talking about? But it's just trying to break the walls that you have, thinking that life is free, everything is free. It isn't. And things cost money. Creating content for you costs money. So, you know, somebody was telling me about Destiny 1. Oh, Destiny 1 didn't have no content. It's like, okay, how long it took you to beat the story? 30 hours. Okay. How long did it take you to play the strikes and raid? Oh man, that was another like 20 hours. Okay, so you're talking about 50 hours and you didn't get your money worth, $60 worth? Get the hell out of here. Never mind the multiplayer. You know, it's just, get out of here, dude. It's ridiculous. And it's something that gamers do all the time. And it's unfair to these games. And that's why I'm taking a stand as a consumer and trying to wake up the guys who don't have the sense of understanding there's a deeper level to this. You know? So, I don't know. We'll see where you guys' heads is at when the time comes. But at this time, you know, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look good. It looks like everybody's lost in the rhythm. But that's just me. And hopefully we can get out of that place. And hopefully the studios can get out of their place. Because if we all wise up and we're like, well, we're not going to buy that game because it has that microtransaction system, see you later. I'm going to buy the game. I'm just not going to buy the microtransaction. That's another way you can do it. And it's like, damn, these microtransactions are not working. So it's a hardcore balance, because if you stop buying microtransactions, they're going to make games harder for you to progress. It's like, well, you got to spend 1,000 hours just to unlock one part of it. So, you know, that argument is a difficult task. And I don't know where to go with it. what to say or do, but other than just speak about it in general, and then throw out things like games should be higher priced because it's cost the studio a lot of money, or games, DLC and all that should have a system that's fair for the studios and for us. Like, I would pay $100 for Horizon Zero Dawn. I would pay $100 for Destiny 2. I would pay $100 for Assassin's Creed Origins. There's games that came out this year that are worth $100. Then there's games that I'm like, I wouldn't even pay $20 for that thing. Like Player Unknown, I'll play $20, $19.99. Like, that's reasonable. Player Unknown Battlegrounds. It is not necessarily much to that game. It's one game mode. So it is what it is. I'm not worried. They made billions of dollars with Player Unknown Battlegrounds, but they didn't give us much. And hopefully I'm gonna eat my words, and then they'll come out with like a story mode, because the creator said that would be nice if we can make a story mode, and they can come up with new modes and something, game modes, just battle modes, something. Give us something. Give us free. You know what I mean? We'll see. In the end of the day, it's a complicated weave, and the community has to come together and stick up for each other, and don't be foolish about it. Be reasonable and progress. Don't degress. So that's my conversation. That is what I have to say. I don't want games to be cost more, but if it at the price of not having overpriced after content, we have to pay a little more to start with. And I know games like Horizon Zero Dawn will do amazing things, or Assassin's Creed, then I'm willing to pay it extra. We're getting 4K now, so we should pay the price of 4K. Extra $20. So that's going to be $80 now. That's just my opinion. Something along those lines, in a reasonable fashion, respectful manner, for both sides to be at the right place when it comes to all of this. And it's complicated, and I've heard every angle. Oh, well, they should just stick to DLC. And it's like, sometimes you don't get everything you need in DLC, and then you divide the community. Same thing with season passes. You get a season pass, and then you won't even play the game after the first DLC. You just fall out of love with it. So then it's like, microtransaction makes a little bit of sense. Like, okay, well, I can get this part. But then the way they do it is so terrible. Microtransactions, either they overprice the microtransactions, or they make the progression system so bad that you want to get microtransactions. So it's a oh man, the loophole that we're in with this situation. So again, be smarter. Come together with the smart people who won't support these avenues, and create new methods. This is for both studios and communities. Find new methods that work for everybody, not individually, not just you selfishly, because if it's up to me, everything is free. Every game and every DLC and everything's free. Coming from the guy who titled his name raise prices for games. I'm saying let it all be free. Anyway, that's where we are as a people, and that's what we need to do as a people. So I appreciate you guys for coming out. A lot of the questions I already answered, and I'm not going to dive too deep into them again, as I said everything about what I wanted to talk about. People have other personal things. Are you going to rap today? No. Today I'm like extra mellow right now. I'm actually needing to get some work done, so I'm trying to get off for a minute and then get back online to stream later. But I just wanted to take a little time and talk about this factor and get really open and honest about it on all levels and try to be reasonable about it. That said, we'll talk more about other things, and I'm gonna get the movement podcast to go back to what it was all about before and talk about deep stuff, real good stuff. This stuff here is just controversial and unnecessary, to be honest. So this is the last day. Why haven't I streamed Metal Gear? I have, like about a week ago. I mean, what more do you want? Like, I'm not one of those guys who forces themselves to do things on streams. Like, I'm gonna stream Metal Gear every day for the rest of my life. It's my favorite series, and I love it, and I support it. But I think you gotta continue to have a good pacing to your gaming. Like, if all I played was Metal Gear, no matter how much I love it, it's just like eating pizza every day. You might think it's great right now, but after a week or month of pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you are gonna get tired of that. Like, oh, I need something. And it's not that pizza is not good tasting. I want some right now. But it's just, you gotta be reasonable. So I indulge in all these great games like Horizon Zero Dawn and Assassin's Creed, and I'm played Destiny once in a while, and I played Star Wars this weekend. All of that, it is enlightening me into different experiences and giving me some really great stimulation. And I would say, for the streamers who kind of force themselves to play one game all the time, culture yourself, man. Life is too short. You know, you're gonna miss out on some good things. And this is coming from the hardcore Metal Gear guy who plays it every day, every year, all year round. You gotta culture yourself and enjoy. Like, I play NBA Live 2018 every day for like less than an hour, like 30-40 minutes. Do the events, and I'll get offline and I'll jump on some other things. It's just something I do because it's such a great feeling. You know, you're playing sports, you're trying to achieve something in there, these events. It's cool. Same thing with Destiny. I'll get on, do the milestones, hang out with some friends, play some multiplayer or play a raid together. Then I'll jump off and play something else. And it feels good like that. You know, it's freedom, organic experiences. So play the games you love, support them, spend your money, not microtransaction money. Spend your money on their DLCs and all that good stuff. And when the prices raise for the next generation, don't complain. Understand that systems cost a lot of money to make. The games cost a lot of money to make. 180 million or more sometimes for the big games like The Division or Metal Gear Solid v The Phantom Pain. It's not cheap. So respect the hard work, you know, and be smart about your decisions. That's today the flow. As I'm super mellow, I know, but I appreciate y'all. We're gonna go ahead and do the last questionnaires from like Facebook or wherever you guys are questioning me. I'm looking at it right now. I mainly got a lot of trolly ones about my decision of saying microtransactions can be good. Well, I'll say this. I understand the trolley thing. I don't purchase them. I've never purchased a microtransaction. So you can try to troll me, but facts are facts. I never purchased one. So whatever. Get mad all you want. I'll just keep it real. You know, like, just because I never purchased a microtransaction doesn't mean that I think they're the worst things that ever happened in the world. I don't like them, and I think us supporting them has made them what they are now. But in the end of the day, you know, we gotta be reasonable about it. How can the studios make money? So that's why you see me talking about it. So why y'all out here trying to clown me, be real with yourself, because you probably bought some microtransactions and you're the hypocrite. But I'm not one to judge, and that's not what I'm here for. And what I'm trying to say is we got to come together and build the right market for these things like microtransactions, DLCs, and season passes. A lot of them are good. I think DLCs have been fair. I bought the Division ones. That was an awesome experience. I loved it. One of my favorite games, even though it's not that popular. It is my favorite, one of my favorites. And then you got you know, the brand new Horizon Zero Dawn DLC that just came out. Amazing stuff, fun stuff, great experience. You gotta love it. There's so many levels to this, you know, and I just think we gotta come to a better place. So how we do that together, and that's why I bring up the discussion. And I'm gonna drop it off here. The rest of the questions are more personal about esports events and stuff. It's kind of already answered them a few times, and I'll address it on a tweet later. All right, so thank you for coming by. No rap today, maybe tomorrow, freestyle. We'll talk. Thank you.